Do you play games or do you play a game? By which I mean, are you someone who is an itinerant gamer? Do you move from game to game to game? Or are you on the lookout all the time for that one game that is going to keep you engaged for months, if not years at a time? I've personally flip-flopped between these two identities. For me, for the majority of the time, what I do is the pattern is this, right? I get excited about a game. A game is announced. I'm looking forward to it. I'm playing other games at the same time. The game launches. I play it hard for 2 to 3 months, and then I wouldn't say burn out, but you know, you kind of got to the end of that particular what that game has to offer, and you start looking around for the new hotness, the new game that is going to be coming out. The only time that has not happened to me is to do with Star Wars Galaxies twice in my life. Once when I was in my 20s, had nothing to do other than play that game after a work shift, and had no life and had no friends. And then in my late 30s, 40s, when I was doing these YouTube videos, and I got into playing Star Wars Galaxies again. So the 2 times that it's happened, it's been that game, and it lasted for 2 or 3 years each time. No other MMO has done it for me. Other games have done it for me. I played really hard playing Skyrim. Again, though, I think that was to do with the fact I was making videos online. I think I would have played it about 2 or 3 months, but I played it longer because I was making videos. And I think maybe what you see people doing online is not the right gauge for whether you are an itinerant gamer or someone who plays one particular game. Like and I'm not ascribing a value judgment to this. It was something that came up when I was talking to the MMO Folklorist, James Crosby. He has a blog called the MMO Folklorist. I'll link it down below. And we were talking about having been avid Galaxies players thinking about one particular game, but both being in the position of wanting to branch out a little bit. Yeah, do check out James's blog, it's awesome. Yeah, we talk about those nerdy topics and kind of thinking about what kind of gamers we are. And like a lot of my videos, that I don't have an answer. I think you don't have to have all the answers to make a video. My mantra is, if I ask vaguely interesting questions, that's where the video comes from. And a lot of ideas and thoughts stimulated for me from hearing from you guys, talking to people like James about stuff, and that's enough for me to make a video. So I don't have any answers here, and I'm not saying one thing is better than another. I'm just trying to understand where people are coming from with the games they play, why they play, how they play. I have talked to a lot of people through doing the videos that I wouldn't have come into contact otherwise. More people that you come across who are gamers than you would in ordinary life. And I'm constantly reassessing my understanding of where people are coming from. Everyone is coming from a very specific place, specific to them. And some people don't like to be called gamers. Some people don't identify with that tag. They happen to play games. And they're not comfortable with that. I certainly understand it with things like Gamergate and stuff. There were times when I didn't want to identify as a gamer. But I certainly do. You know, like since I was a kid, I have played games since I was like 9 or 10. Playing microcomputers in the UK, like things like Amstrad, Spectrum, that kind of thing. And then have jumped from every system, played every genre of games, and right up to the present day. So I think I'm a gamer, but that may mean something different to someone else. And maybe someone who plays nothing but The Sims, what are they? They're a Sims fan, but they might not be a gamer. I don't know what makes you a gamer. That's another question. There are some people who only play the FIFA games or the Madden games each year, and they buy the expansion to that. Maybe there are people who only play a particular genre, driving games. They just love their driving games and nothing else. It's just interesting to me to think about and to ask you guys the question of where you're coming from with games. What's your pattern in playing them? I've talked a few times about struggling with not wanting to play games, and I think that's a part of it as well. It's kind of, you need a change of scenery. That's certainly what I've felt with, I want to play games, but I don't want to play that one game that I've been playing avidly for so long. I thought I was a massive Star Wars Galaxies fan until I met, or what I would think of now as the real devotees, the real fans who play the game, develop for the game. But you know, like that, what counts as being a fan? That's a whole dialogue online now. Like, you know, do you have to play only that one game to be considered a fan, or can you be a more casual fan? I think you can be whatever you like to be, but yeah, trying to understand this idea of where I'm coming from with games has occupied my mind the last few days, and I want to see if it's something other people think about as well. Certainly I remember it being something of a culture shock when back in the day we'd been playing Star Wars Galaxies for 2 or 3 years. People started to lose interest a little bit. Maybe the game went in a direction some people didn't want it to go, and you're forced to consider the idea of playing something else, and then the guild kind of broke up, people filtered away, but they stayed together playing other games and stuff. And I had to adjust to that. That was a big adjustment because I was there at the time. I was like, I just want to play Star Wars Galaxies. I don't understand why these people aren't happy just playing this one game, until it crept up on me and I felt the same way. And maybe that is what it is. It's just a never-ending cycle of being happy in the place you are and then needing newness, then needing, I was going to say the new hotness, but I think that comes from watching a lot of streamers, which I do, and internet people, because the way people play games on the internet is not actually, I think sometimes the way people play them in real life. Like, you have two really big divisions of internet personalities. There are the people who follow the newest games, and it's new, so they play it, and they're kind of variety people. And then there are people like, I don't know, Srotarista, who is 100% focused on Star Wars Galaxies with Star Wars The Old Republic with her content, and doesn't do anything else online. So you get the impression that that person doesn't play anything else. I think in her case that's probably true, because her passion for the game comes through and you can't fake that. But you know, I remember watching LGR on a podcast. He does retro, almost exclusively that type of videos. But he was obviously playing all the new games because he was talking about them all, but wouldn't usually do that on his YouTube channel. So I think sometimes you get a distorted sense of how many people are playing just one game. But I do think it's impossible to fake interest on the internet. If you're into a particular game, you're into that game, and I don't think you can fake it. I certainly can't play anything if I don't feel like it. So for me, it's like I can't chase the particular trends and do videos on them if I'm not interested in the game, and I certainly can't keep playing a game beyond the point at which I'm interested in it. I just can't do it. It wouldn't be, I mean, on the internet, if you're interested in trying to get people to watch your videos, then you would do that, right? If it was watch, and I'll do whatever I can to make you watch, if that means playing the latest game, if that means playing the same game forever, I will do that, because the views are the most important thing. That's never been the case for me. It's like, I got to play what I'm enjoying, and if that means fewer people watch, then fewer people watch. But anyway, that's the content creator side of things. I'm really interested in hearing what people think about this idea of playing one specific game. I'm hearing an awful lot, because I'm jumping between MMOs at the minute. I hear an awful lot from people who are really into that specific MMO, and you can tell through their comments that they have a particular interest in that, and that is their favorite. I honestly can't pick a favorite at the minute. I'm coming from the place of, I can see benefits to all these things, and I think I've always been someone who gets to a certain point of I was going to say obsession, because that's a particularly negative word. Interest in something. Once it gets to a certain point, I kind of take a step back. I can never get so into something that it precludes all other interests. So I think that's why primarily I've been someone who jumps between different games and under the banner of being a gamer. That works better for me. It spills off into my life as well. Whatever you're into, if you're into running, if you're into shagging, I can do that quite a lot here. But if you do any one thing too much, I have this little filter in my brain that says you need to have broader interests here. You can't just focus. And the internet seems to trend towards very sort of laser focused interest from people, and maybe it's just the way people communicate online, but you definitely get a feeling that, wow, this person's not interested in anything other than the thing they're interested in. I've always felt like I want to cast the net wider, but I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. And I sometimes feel like I wish I could get that invested in one particular thing. I did get really invested in Skyrim at one time, which is not even an MMO, but again, I think if I weren't doing videos about it, it wouldn't have lasted that long. So let me know in the comments. Like I say, I don't have answers, I just have questions, and I like asking them, and what you guys say stimulates more questions for me that I like to ask. That's the thing that's going on the internet for me, is just communicating with people, hearing what they say and having thoughts and then communicating them to you. That's my ethos. It's not an ethos, it's just what I do. All right. I hope you're enjoying the videos at the minute. I'm certainly enjoying creating them. There's the new world coming up, which I'm going to jump into. Did some beta stuff of that, and I feel like I've limbered up a little bit to a new MMO after having played some classic MMOs. I might also jump into Anarchy Online. I downloaded that just to revisit my first ever MMO. It's the first ever one I played, so might be doing that soon. Keep up to date. I'm not going to tell you to sub and like. If you want to do that, you can do it, but if you don't. And that's life. And this is the end of this particular video.